Hey guys, this is Rusty 78609, Central Texas, USA, out for a drive this morning. Got gray skies, temperature 70 degrees. It's about 8:30 a.m. and it's mist and rain, so I'm not going to take a chance on going walking at home. I'm just going to go to the big old grocery store we got and do my exercise there. But anyway, on the agenda today, I thought I'd tell you a story. Since I haven't got anything else to talk about, and I've touched on this before in some other videos, but I want to give you my first few days as a draftee in the U.S. Army in 1967. It was hell. I'm telling you, boy. You talk about thinking a guy had died and gone to hell. I did. Because anyway, I guess I was 21 because I'd had a student deferment. Anyway, I got my draft notice, and to make a short story longer, my dad drove me to the draft station in Corn City, Texas, and the bus picked us up there and drove us to San Antonio to the induction center where we had our physicals and stuff, which was a total nightmare. Of course, me being so ignorant, a lot of guys were lying, that they had bad feet, bad backs, kidney problems, eye problems, ear problems. I didn't do any of that. I didn't try anything. In fact, I tried to be as good as I could. And so anyway, got through the physical, get in the bus, go out to the airport in San Antonio, and the drill sergeant on the bus, he was a Marine DI, drill sergeant, drill instructor, DI. And anyway, he walked to the middle, because I didn't know if I was going in the Army or the Marines. Okay, when you got drafted, you were going to one or the other. This was in 1967, and there was no way out. If you didn't have a student deferment, you couldn't get in the Air Force, Navy. The only way you could get in when you got drafted, that's it. And that's, I think about George Bush and some of these other guys that somehow miraculously got in the National Guard that same year. I know that's all BS and political pull. But anyway, having said that, DI goes to the middle of the bus and he says, okay, from here forward going in the Marines, and from here back going in the Army. Fort Polk. And the other one was going to someplace in California. I can't remember the name. Very common. I'm sure all you Marines know it. But anyway, so I was going to Fort Polk because I was in the back of the bus. And the only reason I was in the back of the bus is I was in front of the line when they loaded the bus. Okay, so they directed me to the back of the bus. You didn't just pick a seat. The DI was there. He said, "Go on back, back." Boy, and he was barking like a wild dog. And anyway, I had on a red shirt. Well, it wasn't a shirt. It was a pullover, a zip-up thing. And it was kind of a cool day. I think it was, I want to say April when I got inducted, 1967, in that range. Dumb as a stick. I mean, really, guys, you're talking about throw this dog a bone. Me. Ignorant. Did not know anything. Trusted everybody. Assumed everybody was honest. If a man gave me his word, that was as good as any written document you could get. But anyway, so we get to the airport and go through the terminal, what little terminal they had then in San Antonio at that time. And we go out to this old Trans Texas tail dragger. I think it's a DC-7 or DC-6. It was a twin engine. They were called tail draggers because they had a wheel under each wing and one in the tail that drug on the ground. The pilot had to kind of zigzag going down the runway so he could see where he was headed. So anyway, we flew into Fort Polk, get off the plane. Of course, we still had on our civilian clothes, and getting back a deuce and a half. That's a big old truck they used to haul trainees around in, guys in the Army and stuff. Called them deuce and a half because I think they were 2.5 ton vehicles. Anyway, I called them watermelon trucks because when you got a bunch of trainees in there with their little helmets on, their headgear on. It looked like little watermelons going down the street in the back. But anyway, we got in the back of that old truck, and we go to another place where it looked like it was about half the size of a tennis court, because there wasn't but about, I don't know, maybe 50 of us in that range. And on this tennis court were these little squares, and the drill instructor says, "Okay, find you a square and park." And so, all I had was a little duffel bag, and it wasn't much. I didn't, they told you what to take, which is basically nothing, because they gave you clothes and shoes and everything. All you had to do was bring your toothbrush and basic stuff, maybe a book to read, which I didn't have because I was too stupid to read anyway. So I'm standing there in this square, and I was already tired. I mean, we'd been through a long day, and hungry, and thirsty. And so we got about 50 guys there. And all of a sudden, this DI, drill instructor, looks at me and says, "Hey, you in the red shirt." And from that point forward, I knew you should never stand out in the military. Never. Never make yourself observable. Keep a very low profile. But anyway, that was my first lesson. So I was, "Hey, you in the red shirt." And he said, he handed me this clipboard with all the names of the guys on it. And he said, you're the roster guy." Hell, I didn't know. He might as well have told me I was a space alien. He said, "You're the roster guy." And he barked out some orders. Go here, go there, go to this. He gave me some instructions, but he said, "Going so damn fast, I couldn't remember half of them. I was nervous, scared, ignorant. And anyway, he told me to find this barracks, and I think it's C4 or some crap like that. I can't remember what that number pops into my mind. Anyway, so here we go, me leading, like, boy, you talk about the tail wagging the dog. So here we go, and I had no clue, but finally I did accidentally stumble upon the place. But he also told me, they said, "Now when you get your men squared away," my men squared away, you hear me? All of a sudden I got 50 men. I'm the roster guy. Boy, welcome to the service. Anyway, so we get in, and I just said, "Okay, guys, everybody pick a bunk." And hell, I didn't know what to do. Shit, I had no clue. Anyway, the DI had told me, he said, "Now look," he said, "it's already late in the evening." He said, "Go ahead and hunker down for the night." But he said, "You got to post a fire guard." And he said, "Best thing to do is just break it up into 4-hour shifts and let the guy that's getting off or fixing his 4 hours is ending to wake up the next guy," and so on and so on and so on. And I said, "Well, how in the hell am I going to pick out 4 guys?" He said, "Hell, you're the boss." He said, "Just pick them out." And I said, "Well, hell." So anyway, we got to the barracks, and I told everybody to write their name on a piece of paper, and I was going to put it in a hat. And the first 4 names or 3 names that came out were going to be the fire guard for the night, and they'd walk 4-hour shifts. I thought about doing 2 hours, but hell, I didn't know what to do. He said 4, it's 4. So, and then he told me, he said, "When you get up in the morning, you got to be at some place, some lunchroom for KP. We had KP first day, okay?" But hell, I didn't know where he was talking about, man. He could have given me 3 orders, and have been lucky if I'd have remembered 1. You understand? So anyway, I found the place, got the fire guard set up, and they had the little butt cans for the cigarettes and all that crap. I didn't know, I couldn't sleep at all. Hell, I could have walked fire guard all night by myself. Anyway, so we drew the names out. My name wasn't in it, thank goodness. And anyway, they all begged, "Oh, damn, I ain't got 4 hours of shit." And I said, "Look, man, your name came up. If you don't want to do it, fine. I'll just tell the DI you didn't want to do it, and y'all work it out." And because I didn't feel like I had any rank over anybody. I felt like I had less rank than anybody. So anyway, first guy starts fire guard. Anyway, I woke up. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. We were supposed to be at that damn lunchroom or wherever, mess hall, at 4 or 5 a.m. I can't remember. Early, I remember that. And I told the guy the guy that was going to do it was 8, 12, the guy that was going to do the last shift to 4 a.m., I told him to wake me up, and then I'd wake everybody up at 4:30, and we'd make it on time, because apparently it wasn't far. Even though I didn't have no idea where it was, the DI said it was only a short walk. A short walk in the service is 6 miles, or 18 miles, or 30 miles, whatever they want it to be. But anyway, so hell, I knew we were in trouble, or I knew I was in trouble, or somebody was in trouble. So anyway, I got the guys up, got our civvies on, headed for the mess hall, finally found it. DI was sitting there on the outside on a little old rail, and he looked at me, and he just grinned from ear to ear. And he said, "You already effed up, son," talking to me. I said, "Sergeant," I said, I'm lucky I'm here now. Anyway, he kind of grinned. He cut me some slack. I guess he looked at me and he said, "Man, nobody can be more ignorant than this guy. Nobody. This guy cannot lie. He is too dumb." So anyway, he said, "Well, let's get you guys fed." So he said, "Okay, so today," he said, "all you got to do is just, to get in, just call out your serial number and enter, but say it loud enough so I can hear it." Well, when he said say it loud enough so he could hear it, he must have been deaf as a stick, because you could say it as loud as you could yell, and he'd say, "I can't hear you." And then you crank it up a little bit, and he'd say, "I still can't hear you." And then you crank it up a little bit, and he'd say, "I still can't hear you. Knock out 20. And I thought, shit, this is the second day. Hello. Well, it got worse, I can tell you that, because basic training in the military, Army and Marines, same thing. It's hell. It's hell, hell, hell. It's 8 weeks of hell. And so anyway, that day turned out that we got our clothes, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was a disaster. Because you go down this line, it's like an assembly line, and they say, "What size?" Well, hell, I didn't know. I mean, I had no clue. I didn't know what, I had an idea what size shoe I wore, but I wasn't sure. And shirts and pants and stuff, I don't know. I never looked at the label, And so, they're saying, "What size? Pants, length, waist?" Hell, I said, "Man, can't I just try a pair on?" He said, "Shut up, what size?" So, hell, there was a guy in front of me, looked like he was about my big, and he shouted out a size, and I said, that'd be fine. Boy, was that a screw up. That guy, he must have had a 1-inch waist. All right. And his legs must have been 75 inches long, because those pants did not fit. Did not fit. Nothing fit. Nothing I got that day fit. But thank goodness, that afternoon, old DI came in there again. He said, "Everybody tried everything, all your gear on?" "Yes, drill sergeant." He said, "Anybody get anything that didn't fit?" "Yes, drill sergeant." He said, "All you guys that have stuff that doesn't fit, fall out over here. All you guys got all your gear that fits, fall out over here." Actually, I found out later I was glad my stuff didn't fit, because those guys that had all the stuff that did fit were out working the whole time. They were doing something. But anyway, we go back to the place to get the clothes. I can't remember all those military names, but anyway, supplies, whatever the hell it was. And this time, all I knew was I needed something bigger in the waist and not quite as long. I knew that. So I kind of did a little math and came up with a number there that turned out it worked pretty good. And on the shoes, I got a pair that actually they did fit. They were a little big, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because if they'd have been a little bit too little, I'd have died, because we walked 1,000 miles a day, seemed like. In the infantry, or in basic training, you do not ride. If you ride somewhere, when you get out, you do not want to be there. So anyway, then we moved to another barracks, and we were Charlie Company. And we had a CO that must have been raised in hell. I mean, he must have been the devil's brother, is all I can figure. And the DI we had for our company, he was the devil's other brother, I promise you. He was this black guy, about 5'10", built like a brick, always smiling, and could call cadence perfectly. You know what I mean? When marching stuff. And he had, they wore those little Smokey the Bear hats, and so we called him Smokey Bear. And he'd get right in your face, and he'd say, "How you like the Army?" I said, "I love it, drill sergeant. I love the Army, drill sergeant." He said, "Yes." He said, "You was lying." I said, "You bet I am." Oh golly, he was almost a comedy, man. But it was so miserable, and we had guys falling out all the time, man, all the time, And anyway, one day the old DI comes out there and he said, "Any of you fat boys know how to drive a truck?" Well, of course, all of them knew how to drive a truck, or at least they said they did, because they thought they was going to get some driving duty. Well, what their driving duty consisted of, we had a Lister bag. We had a little cart with handles on each end. We had two of them, and they carried water bags called Lister bags, and they held about 80 gallons of water, or about at least 50, maybe more. And there was two of those carts, and everywhere we go, there had to be four of those guys, two in the front and two in the back, pushing those carts up and down hill while we marched, all right? So they had their gear on, plus they're pushing and pulling that damn cart. And all them fat boys were on there, man. I'm telling you, I felt sorry for them. I was just so glad I didn't raise my hand. Of course, I was skinny as a rail. He wouldn't have picked me anyway. But man, I used to feel sorry for those guys, because see, we'd get somewhere and we'd have I didn't smoke. Well, I had smoked before I went into service, but I wasn't smoking at that time. But I found out that I better start smoking, because if you did smoke, they'd give you a smoke break every now and then to smoke cigarettes. Well, shit, give me them cigarettes. So I did. We'd get cigarettes, and I didn't. Well, anyway, I smoked big enough to get that break, and it was hell. I'm telling you, it was hell. You talk about physical training. I would never have believed that my body could have been trained to do the things that it did. I'm telling you, because we had about at least 50 pounds of gear every time we left out going somewhere, and God almighty, and just learning how to march, that I'd never marched before. You'll left, right, left, your mother was there when you left, column left, ho, and all that stuff. I didn't know what, but anyway, you learn, and your military right and your military left better be right, because you're in trouble if it ain't. When the old drill sergeant says left face and one head goes to the right, that head is dead. I'm going to go through this light, and I know y'all are going to applaud. Did I make it? Well, we'll give it a push on that one. But anyway, that was hell, man. But anyway, I made it through basic training, and then ended up in Tigerland. And boy, let me tell you what. But fortunately, when I got out of basic training, I was in such perfect physical condition that we could march all day. I didn't hardly break a sweat. I could do the bars. I can't remember, 64, 96 bars, whatever. Didn't even break a sweat. I could do push-ups till the sun went up and down. I mean, it was amazing what you can be trained to do, or basically scared. Fear will do it. And anyway, it got to be, later on, when you get in good condition, though, it got to be kind of a comedy. I mean, not comedy, but it was, people actually did laugh every now and then. But let me tell you, in basic training, man, you see guys go through total hell, man. I'm telling you, I watch guys fall out flat on their face, boy. I'm telling you. And then the old drill sergeant come over and hit him with it. He'd hit him with the butt of his rifle. Get up, soldier, you ain't tired. Get up. It wasn't none of that stuff like you got now, where they said, "Now, excuse me, son, would you mind getting off your butt?" No. Would they hit you? Yes, sir, they'd hit you. Right in the head, they'd hit you. And you knew that. And a little bit of that goes a long way. But anyway, having said that, when I got into Tigerland, it was a much easier ride. But whenever you get out of basic training, what they do, is the drill sergeant gets, each company, he goes down to each individual one at a time and tells them where they're going to be going, okay? Of course, I already knew where I was going. If they said Tigerland, that meant infantry. Basically, you were going to be dead. And, but anyway, I remember that old drill sergeant. I liked him. He was all right, and I think he kind of liked me, too. But, we were kind of buddies. I mean, not buddies. I don't guess you can be buddies with them guys. But, remember when he got to me, he smiled, and then he stopped smiling, and he looked me right in the eyes, and he said, Tigerland. And then I could see a little sadness in his eyes. But be that as it may, Tigerland was not where you wanted to go, but it wasn't all that bad because you were in good shape, and that's the whole story of the beginning of the end of hell. But having said that, guys, from Central Texas, USA, this is Rusty78609 saying thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye-bye. Buy anything you want, but if you think about it, use the Amazon link to Amazon products because I get a small commission and I appreciate it. If you don't want to fool with it, don't. What else? Drink plenty of water. 3 or 4 quarts a day won't hurt you. It's good for you. It'll help you avoid gout, kidney stones, and it'll also help you lose weight if that's what you want to do. And what else? Drink plenty. I said that. Take deep breaths. Breathe in deep. Hold it for a few seconds and breathe out slowly. Why? Because that relieves stress. Relieving stress is good for you. Stretch, walk. I'm fixing to go do that right now, and I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, what else can I say? Stand guard at the door of your mind because you don't want to let negative Nancy or negative Ned get inside of your head. I guarantee you don't. But anyway, enjoy your life one day at a time, guys, and I will too. Adios. Bye-bye.